Welcome to episode 0 of the Purgatorious Pig Tavern podcast, the Dungeons and Dragons podcast that combines fighting monsters and drinking delicious craft beer. So, this episode, we are going to be talking about the home rules we're playing with, kind of an overview of this campaign and setting, high level, and we're going to test a beer at the end of the episode. I'm Scott, your game master, and I'm here with Eric, one of the player characters, and Soundmaster Guru.
How you doing, Scott?
I'm doing good today. How are you?
I am looking forward to this beer. I heard it's from a local brewery near us, and I believe it's part of their mug club.
Not part of their mug club, but it is a kind of, they do a lot of seasonal beers. So it's got some figs that were freshly grown, and we'll talk about them more a little bit later.
All right, I'm looking forward to that. So tell me more about what we're getting ourselves into.
All right. So the way this podcast and the Dungeons and Dragons part of it is going to work is the party. So you and all your other merry band of adventurers
Cronies
are going to be working essentially for the Purgatorious Pig Tavern, which is a local tavern that has a job board. And you'll be taking various jobs along the way. For those in the know, each job will be an individual one shot. We'll start and end each job per episode, ideally. Some may spill over if they get very involved, but we're going to try and keep every job a one episode type thing.
All right, that sounds good. So for those of you listening, everybody that's doing this podcast, aside from our game master, is new to D&D. So we don't really know what we're getting into, but we're really looking forward to it.
So we are playing 5th edition rules as it stands right now, and I have been playing 5th edition for almost 10 years now, maybe 9 years, in that 9 to 10 year ballpark range. So
roughly a decade, yeah.
So looking forward to coming up with some fun jobs for you guys to do.
Awesome. For those of you out there who do understand the rules of D&D, Scott, can you tell us what is going to be a little different about our game?
So, yeah, we're going to play with a few homebrew rules that a lot of players, I think, may be familiar with. They're pretty common for homebrew. We're going to be playing drinking a health potion is a bonus action, not a regular action. That way, if you're kind of low on health, you can swig a potion and still attack or do something cool on your turn instead of just wasting a turn drinking a potion, which isn't very fun.
That sounds good. I like that.
We're also going to be playing where everyone starts off each job with a point of inspiration.
Nice.
Which means once per job at a minimum, you'll be able to re-roll any bad roll.
How bad are we talking?
So let's say a monster is trying to grapple you and you roll really low, so they successfully grapple you. You can re-roll to try and fight off that grapple a second time in the same turn.
So does that count all the way down to, let's say, the dreaded natural 1?
It can, based on what the nat 1 is rolled for. But yeah, pretty much any roll, you can use your point of inspiration to re-roll.
All right, I like that.
So yeah, those are kind of the two big homebrew ones. And then for other game masters out there, I homebrew on the fly a lot, just so everyone's aware. During combat, if I feel the party's getting overwhelmed, you may see a creature die sooner than you expect, or maybe not deal quite as much damage as you expect. I'm a pretty benevolent GM when it comes to things like that.
Excellent.
Those are kind of the big homebrew rules. There are a few additional ones that will show up throughout the campaign, so you'll have to listen to future episodes to see when those pop up. But I will tell you, they are quite fun from a GM standpoint to watch the party have to do.
Uh-oh. All right, well, with that, is there anything else that our listeners should know?
Yeah, then on the beer front, we have some party members on the East Coast. We have some party members on the West Coast. So what you'll be seeing every episode is one beer review. It'll either happen at the beginning, middle, or end based on the job the party picks and where it fits the best in the storyline. But we'll be picking beers, East Coast, West Coast, hard to get, easy to get beers, and then breaking the fourth wall to do a beer review of what we all actually think of the beer, and we're going to rate it on a scale of 1 to 20.
That makes sense. Round up, right?
And we will be rounding up on the beer reviews.
Awesome. So as far as beer reviews go, most of the people that are in this campaign are avid craft beer drinkers. We've been drinking craft beer since before we had a ton of breweries all over the place. I think where we're located, we must have started and there were maybe 5 in our state.
Yeah, definitely on the 10 or less range,
And now we have 150, something like that.
if not quickly approaching.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that we've tried over the years, and we're excited to do this. As far as our reviews will go, everybody has their own opinions and styles that they like. We'll do our best to be non-biased towards the style, but we can't promise anything. We're just a bunch of people that are telling you how we like the beer, and take it or leave it as you like.
Yep. And something to say on that note is if you don't agree with our beer rating, you can have some polite conversation on our various social medias things, but no hate speak. Don't bash anyone for not liking a beer you might like, right? Everyone's got their own opinion. We won't tolerate that nonsense.
None.
So, yeah, on that note, I think we should dive into our first beer review.
Let's do it.
All right. So, today for episode zero's beer review, Eric and I will be drinking Stewards of the Land Breweries, their Winter Warmer Scotch Ale, which is brewed with over 300 purple figs from their local farm. So a little bit about Stewards of the Land before we get into the actual beer tasting, though, is it's a farm brewery located on the DeFrancesco family farm. They try and use as much of their own fresh ingredients from the farm in their various home brews, be it the figs, or honey, or other various fruits and other herbs to create unique blends of more traditional style beers. I personally really like these guys. I'm actually a Mug Club member of them, so that shows how much I like this brewery.
I love this brewery. Scott took us there about a month ago, and it was excellent. Everything was excellent. If you're in the area and they're open, it's definitely worth a stop.
So just a little bit about the beer. As I said, it's a Scotch ale with 300 purple figs from the farm, and it clocks in at 5.7%. Don't know how long it's going to be available for because they do turn over their beers pretty often, trying to stay as seasonal as they can. So if you hear this episode and you check their website out and it's still available, jump on it. All right. So
let's try it first.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
So I'll jump right in here because Scotch ales are probably one of my favorite styles of beers. I know there's a big IPA craze still, but I stumbled upon Scotch ales probably 11 or 12 years ago while I was still in college. And for the most part, they're very crisp, clean beers that are still full flavored. This is a great representation of it. It's got a little bit more fruit flavor than a traditional Scotch ale because of the figs, but it's still very well balanced. So on that, I probably give this one on our scale of 20 and 18. It's not my favorite Scotch ale, but it is definitely up there, which is the only reason I'm not going to give it a 20.
Yeah, 20s are supposed to be hard to come by, but we'll see.
Right. But at 18, very solid beer. Highly recommend.
Very nice. Scott, I also really enjoy a Scotch ale. I think maybe one thing to note is that we've all been craft beer heads since before the IPA craze, which that's a long time. As far as the Scotch ale goes, this is, like Scott said, an excellent representation. It's a little bit lighter than I was expecting, but that doesn't mean it's bad. I'm not going to hold it against it. I think it's excellent. There's a lot of fig flavor coming through. To me, there's a strong cinnamon aroma, but not so much in the flavor, which is nice. And overall, I think I would also give this an 18.
All right, so that makes the math easy here. This gets an 18 out of 20 overall for the reviewers today. So very solid start for the beer reviews on this podcast.
Yeah, we're going to try and do stuff that is interesting. I don't think we're going to go out there and be like, hey, here's review this Budweiser.
Right. if a beer gets under 15 on this podcast, it means we picked we either just misread how the beer was gonna be and it was just something none of us were expecting, or it may have just been an off batch or something, more than likely.
Yes, probably. Yeah, 18 out of 20. That's we're gonna start this off strong.
We will be recording our next few episodes shortly after this gets posted. So follow our Instagram, the RSS feed, wherever you follow podcasts, et cetera, and be on the lookout for the first real episode of the Purgatorious Pig Tavern.
I'm looking forward to it. All right, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.